What's going on, Wes?
Wes is here. Wow, it's been a while since Wes was here.
It's been a
What's up,
while.
Bryan?
It's
It's been a while.
it has been a while since Wes has been here. It's been a while since I guess I was here Monday, but dude, all it takes is having like 2 weeks off, and then it's like I feel like we haven't done this in 6 months. So out of the
Yeah,
loop.
I feel you, man. I mean, I haven't been doing regular shows on my channel for months at this point. Like, I barely feel like I'm even a content creator anymore.
Well, I mean, it's good to get some time off. I took 2 weeks off for the holidays, and boy, oh boy, I needed that, man. That was awesome. Like
It
I feel like I
is.
came back all refreshed and stuff. Like with a new
It
passion
is.
for it.
And I'm ready to fall back into a routine too. Like, it's been kind of chaotic since I haven't had like as much on my plate. You know,
Yeah.
you get burnt out having constant things to do, but it does provide structure. Like there's no like free will determination when things are in full effect. You just always know what the next thing to do is, and I haven't had that direction for a while, so I'm ready for it to come back.
All right, man. Well, let's head in the direction we know how to head in, and let's get this show on the road.
Indeed.
This is PSVR GamesCast Live. We film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure, but we care oh so much about your oral pleasure as well. That's why our good buddy Rypop puts us up on podcast services of your choice. And if you're the kind of person who can't pay attention, you got to be doing like 3 things at once because you got ADD. Hey, that's all right, man. We're all like that, I think, these days. And somebody, what day is it today? Wednesday. Waleed will be putting timestamps into the show after the fact. So if you need those, they'll be here. But more importantly, my name is Bryan Poppins, right here without Parole, and this gentleman over here to my left, you're right, it's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers.
Hello, Brian. Hello, Game Cats. Happy New Year. Like I know
Oh,
we're
yeah.
like a full 8 days into 2025, but how crazy is that, dude? It is 2025. Remember when the year 2000 was the future? Like that was a long time ago. Like what
Yeah.
the hell is happening? Where's time going?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean, man. And actually, I'm trying to think of all the games that have had like 2025 release dates over the last year, and you go, and that's so far away. And now we're in it. Those games come out any second. They're all going to get delayed to
You, rem-
2026. I can feel it.
you remember when Q1 2023 seemed like an eternity away?
Yeah. The launch window of PSVR2, is that what you're uh, implying? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It broke my heart when I first heard those words cross your lips. I was in denial. Didn't want to believe it.
Bro, everybody was in denial. I never got so much hate for leaking some information. And on top of that, like, dude, that told me right there. It's like just stop leaking shit, man. Just stop leaking shit. People get mad at you, and it didn't do anything for subscriber counts or even the view count. Like people weren't sharing the video because it made them so upset. And so I was like, all right, we're just gonna stop leaking shit. You know how much information I got up here in this noggin, West, that I'm not telling any of you motherfuckers because you're just gonna get mad about it.
I know some of it.
Yeah, you know most of it. I tell you everything. I can't hold back from you. Oh man, dude. So what have you been up to? Have you been playing anything good? Have you had any time to just like play anything for fun, like, or has it just
Yeah,
been work, work,
well,
work, work, work?
and, it depends on your definition of play anything for fun. Like,
Sure.
um, yes, I've been playing a lot more VR since I stopped doing regular shows. Um, Now the intent with me stopping the regular shows was to prepare for the 2024 show, which is tentatively scheduled to happen next weekend,
Whoa.
if everything happens the way it should happen. We would be going this weekend, but I'm going out of town this weekend, and Eric's traveling as well, so we really couldn't do it this week. But anyway, the intention was to have more time to play the Game of the Year candidates, which I did. I got it, got back in the Resident Evil 4 VR, and played that significantly more. I played other games from other platforms. What I wasn't expecting was that the fall lineup was going to be so strong that a lot of the time I've spent gaming over the last 6 weeks or so has been in games that weren't really eligible for Game of the Year because they fell outside of the nomination window. Games like Behemoth and games like Alien. Like I spent a significant amount of time in those two games. But over the last couple of weeks, I've been able to hone in and focus in on games that were nominated. And while, yes, the content kind of dictated to me what I would be playing, it was fun. Like I didn't just pick stuff because I wanted to go in and play it, but we only cover typically games that we want to play. So it was fun. It was a good time to get in and play these games.
Uh, did, was Phasmophobia nominated for PSVR2 since it came out this past year?
It was it was nominated for something. Probably not any of the awards that you would have nominated it for. I think we may have nominated it for Garbage of the Year or something like that.
Oh my god.
Uh, which listen, Garbage of the Year doesn't mean that it's a bad game, right? It just
Unsubscribe.
it just means that well, it could be bad games. Obviously, the one that
Okay,
won is probably a pretty bad game, but janky games can be nominated for
sure.
that award, but still fun. And I think that if you were to describe Phasmophobia to someone outside of describing the game mechanics and things to them, what you would tell them is that it's janky, but it's fun, right?
Right.
So
100%.
yeah.
Good. Yep. I finally got my review out last night. I was very, very happy too because I had 300 gigabytes. I'd been saying 100 gig and I was saying 200 gig. It ended up being 300 gig of footage on my hard drive. So being able to back that up and go, all right, I'm done. I can put this away, free up some hard drive space. It's very relieving. Very
Did you
relieving.
dump it all, get rid of all of it, or did you send it to the cloud?
I've got just physical backup hard drives everywhere around here. They're
Oh,
just
I
like
see.
dunk, 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 stacking up like crazy. Um, oh, I played something today that I didn't expect that I was gonna play. I don't know what got into me, but I had a few minutes and I'd heard some of the cats talking about Oniriam. Remember this game that kind of like just dropped out of nowhere? It was like $35, and it's by Frost. Crap, what the hell is it?
Oh
Frost Earth
yeah,
Studio. Yeah,
I remember this game because I remember the name striking me as I kept trying to figure out if it was sort of an anagram for something. Or it seemed like it may have been somebody took the name Mariano and just like juggled the letters up a little bit. But I don't remember a lot about the game itself, just the name of the game.
it's by Frost Earth Studios, and they were the same people who made Mind Labyrinth VR Dreams back on PSVR1 and Steam. Which wasn't really a game. It was more like, hey, we created beautiful environments with a beautiful soundtrack, and go forth and do nothing in them. Like it was, very disappointing because here's all these cool places to hang out in, but like no gameplay elements, right? Much different than Subside, where it was like, hey, here's something beautiful, but like I feel like I'm doing something, or I feel like I'm getting some kind of reward for exploring. Even exploring in Mind Labyrinth yielded nothing. But that's what I remember about it, like being like this kind of like really kind of beautiful place to be. And I was like, well, I bet they fucking learned something in the past 6 years or whatever it's been. Um, and I don't know, man. I feel like it's a step in the right direction for them, but it's still very very much like Mind Labyrinth in a sense.
It's a half
It's
step in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah, you can tell they tried stuff. Like I'm showing here, like there's like you have telekinesis powers, but you use them so infrequently, and you can only use them on like, well, so far I've only been able to use them on three different boxes that I've encountered. You find money and like, but there's no use for the money yet. And then you end up in another world, and like suddenly like all the shit you had, like your flashlight is gone, and it's like but it's instead of Mind Labyrinth being like, oh, just go wherever you want to and just enjoy. This is a much more linear path, Uh, it's a little on the blurry side, but it still looks nice. And I think what they need to improve more than anything is the UI, because the UI just makes it look cheap. You ever have like these games that like seem like they're okay, and then you walk up to
Yeah,
something, it's got this crappy looking text box with a generic looking font, and you're like, dude, all you had to do was make that text box look a little nicer, and you could have had something that didn't look so fucking cheap.
looks
Um,
amateurish, doesn't it? Like
yeah,
this is one of the things that kills my enthusiasm for a game quicker than anything. Like the first thing is like the first splash screen that comes up, and you kind of can judge that and judge a lot of the quality of the game by
right,
what that looks like and how it feels. But the next thing is definitely the UI, because there is a very um very clear, like and known, like generic UI that comes from these game engines, and a lot of these like indie devs, especially on Steam, uh, they just put that right out there like it ain't no thing, and nobody really puts any time to polishing it up. Like uh, this is what separates, one of the things that separates the amateurs from the professionals, right?
yeah.
So I completely understand what you're saying, and
And for a
yeah,
$35
it's really need to
game,
improve. Ooh,
$35, Wes,
ooh,
right? Like you expect it to, look a little bit more polished than this. Dude, we got Arken Age coming out next week. First impressions, by the way. First impressions are going live tomorrow for Arken Age, and that game is $40, right? So do you? We'll talk about Arken Age tomorrow and Friday, but
I wish we could talk about it today, dude. Like I almost asked them, like, can we just talk about it one day earlier? Like, we won't show footage. We'll just talk about it.
let's talk about it.
Um,
Yeah.
but no, I won't be here tomorrow, so I won't be able to talk.
Yeah, I'll have a video that's going up. I don't know. I did an interview with Blake Stone over there at Vitruvius, but I don't remember it going well. I don't know. I was just out of it that day, and I'm kind of dreading editing it because I'm like, it's just one of those where you just know you're gonna have to chop up the crap out of it, and I'm gonna spend 7 hours editing like a 30-minute interview. But we'll see what happens. I'm not feeling great right now, so hopefully I can wake up tomorrow and get to work on all this stuff. But anyway, $35 game, Oniriam. This is, I will say, it's kind of on the dark side in terms of like tone, and so that ropes me in a little bit. Some of it has kind of a bit of a creepy feel, so I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, I'm glad I spent the $35 on it, so like you guys don't have to. But it's not something I would recommend, especially in its current state for the current price. But it is something, that's for sure. If it's like
Yeah,
ever like six
wait,
or $7, I'd be like, oh, maybe.
right, exactly. Wait for a deep discount. It might not be the most compelling game in the world, but there's something to be said for surreal experiences in VR. There aren't a lot of them, so the fact that this does fit that definition might appeal to some of you.
Exactly. The Game Cat, Andrew Ehrenreich with the $10 tip says, Happy West Day. Happy New Year. We need more Star Wars games in VR. I mean, right? Seems like something there should be too much of, and we'd be sick of it. So what's going on? Where's the Star Wars? Um, I mean, I think
Uh,
I'd settle for at least the PSVR1 games being on PSVR2,
we've
right?
got three, right? We've got three major Star Wars games in VR already. I mean, that's what franchise has more than that? Like, are there any? I don't think
Um,
so.
no, no. Yeah. I totally agree with you.
Oh,
It's
four. We've got four. If you count the pinball game, we've got four.
I forgot about the pinball game. It's easy to forget about the pinball game. We don't have it on PSVR 2. It's easy to forget about Squadrons. We don't have it on PSVR 2. It's easy to forget about Vader Immortal. We don't have it on PSVR 2.
Right, right.
What's happening? But I mean, I do think we have the best one. I'm a big pinball fan though, so I don't know. Maybe I'll have to reconsider that. But I do think we have the best one with Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. That
Squadrons.
game was very underrated.
Squadrons is really good too. Like,
That's
um,
true.
it's AAA polish. Like it's really nice looking and playing game. And since this is a flat game that was brought into VR, it subscribes to that flat game mentality where you're not just going to be a multiplayer game or just a single player game. You're going to be a single player campaign and with multiplayer modes. Like that's a solid one, man. I really like. I like Squadrons.
Yeah, I completely forgot that how much fun I have with squadrons. I tend not to be like the when it comes to like space combat or even or like flying, like anything with vehicles. I tend to be like, okay, those games are good, but they're not like top tier for me. Um, but then I spent a lot of time with squadrons. I kind of had to push myself to play squadrons, and then once I kind of get the hang of things and really realize how deep all the mechanics went in terms of having full control over your spaceship, starship. What the fuck do we call these things? Um, yeah, man, I got hooked. I got hooked, and the multiplayer was a blast. So, yeah, we definitely need this on PSVR2, man. Really sad.
I haven't even, like, I've got, since I played it too, I've picked up a HOTAS, and it's in the box over there. Like, I bought this HOTAS around the last time that I played Squadrons. People were telling me, you really need to get a HOTAS. You need to get a HOTAS. So I was like, "Oh, fine, I got one." And then I never played Squadrons anymore. I never opened the box. It's still sitting over there, brand new, months later.
Yeah, I bought a HOTAS for Aces of Thunder, Sirens on my end, and assuming it would have been out by now. But same thing. I bought it from Amazon. It's like $35, and it was not expensive. But ever since I could be holding on to the wrong package right now. I could be holding on to someone else's package, Wes. Wouldn't that be interesting? I've never opened the box, and even to see the word HOTAS on the thing inside the Amazon box, it showed up. I knew what it was. I threw it in the closet, and I haven't touched it since. So, fingers crossed, there's a HOTAS in there.
Who knows what's in there, Brian? Could be some crazy shit.
I hope there's a head in it, just like a fucking human head, and you're like, swear it wasn't me, but I've been holding on to it for literally 7 months. That's not gonna look good when the police show up. Oh man, hey guys, just heads up, guys. We're doing a little bit of viewer takeover special today. We don't want to work very hard to do this. We want to hang out with you guys and talk to you guys and answer your questions. There's so many ways to do a viewer takeover questions without spending money. You can just put hashtag viewer takeover in the chat and leave your question here. You can go over to Discord where it will stand out a lot more and leave your question in the viewer takeover channel. You can tip, but again, no pressure to ever send money our way. So there's a lot of different ways to get your viewer takeover question in. But while we're giving you some time to do that, where were you guys on Monday? Where were you guys Monday? Sorry, I'm not actually angry. My sore throat is making it sound like everything I say is angrier, and slightly more feminine, like raspy, nice little husky feminine voice. I don't think husky and feminine go together. Anyway, so you should hear what it sounds like in my head. Sounds all over the place. We talked about this on Monday. I've got a little arcade unit from Evercade. It's the Evercade Alpha. I've been playing retro games on my handheld Evercade EXP, and then they came out with this little arcade unit that used the same cartridges that I've been playing already. And so how could I not treat myself to a little arcade unit? This thing is phenomenal. But we talked about it a lot on Monday. So not sure. Brian though says it's a box of dildos. Now we're talking. That might be mine after all.
Brondo, literally, that was where my mind went too. Like, mystery box from Amazon could be a box of dildos. And then I almost said it. And then I said, you know what? We won't be so crass today. It's our first day back. We'll keep it clean. And then Brian said, maybe there's a head in there. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But not the same type of head that you're thinking about. And then Brondo just comes right out and says it. So.
Yeah, listen, we're all on the same page all the time. We're all 12 years old at heart. We all have the same sense of humor. It's good. Why hold back, man? Why hold back? Just say what's on your mind. Bambino Ramos in the chat says, Brian, did you ever rewatch Idle Hands? Me and Ben were talking in Discord about a month or two ago, and we're talking about old horror movies that we enjoyed. Can you believe Idle Hands is what we consider an old horror movie? It's like from the 90s or something, right? It's like mid 90s horror movie. That was like peak horror movie time. I tried to rewatch it. I did. I tried to rewatch it. Idle Hands does, at least for me, it was difficult to watch, man. Like it just didn't hold up. Like it was just goofy. I don't know. It didn't work for me. But I still have it's on Amazon and it's ready for me to come back and try to get through the second half of it. But we'll see. It wasn't working. I love that era, man. It was like Halloween H2O came back. I remember being like 16, 17 years old, 18, I forget what it was. And then loving Halloween movies growing up, like old VHS tapes. the original Halloween first few movies, and then H2O comes out in the theaters, and you're like, a brand new fucking Halloween movie that I'm gonna be able to see in the theater with my friends. Like, what what timeline are we living in? This is the best timeline. I didn't know where we were headed, but at the time it felt great.
Yeah, they were fully exploiting our nostalgia as soon as we came of age, or we're getting ready to come of age, and
Yeah.
sometimes it worked out, and other times it didn't. But
Did
appreciate the effort.
those three most recent Halloween movies, that recent Halloween trilogy, that was I think one of those was okay, and the other two were like really difficult to get through.
I don't even think I fully watched any of them. I think I watched some of the one like Rob Zombie did one of those, did he not?
No, Rob Zombie did.
No.
Man, I keep forgetting how often Halloween gets rebooted. I think Rob Zombie did a couple of them in the early 2000s, I think, or the mid 2000s.
Okay.
But yeah, this was all in the last like 6, 7 years, I think.
Okay. Well, that shows what I know. I have no clue.
I actually like the Rob Zombie ones, and I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan. I'm not like a House of a Thousand Corpses fan or Devil's Rejects. Like I watched them and I was like, I feel dirty now.
I mean, there were things I liked about them. Obviously, the cinematography was pretty good in them, and there were characters, memorable characters in them. Some of them I enjoyed.
DJ Dirty Ella thinks I don't like Idle Hands now because I watched it sober this time. It's possible, man. It's possible. I was really high all the time for like 2 decades, so I'm sure I enjoyed everything a little bit more than I used to. All right, man. Uh, let's tackle a little bit of news, and then we'll get to some viewer takeover questions. Again, Discord is going to be your best place to leave those, so I can like kind of bring them up on my phone and look at them all at once. I don't want them getting lost in the chat. Um, dude, the headline of this episode is a game called The Obsessed Shadow. I had never heard of this game ever before in my life until, I don't know, a day or two ago when the developer said that after it comes out on Quest, it's coming out on everything, including PSVR2 and flat screen. It's going to be crazy. Was this something you were familiar with prior to today or that announcement, Wes?
I may have come across it at one point or another. It wasn't something that found particularly memorable. It seemed familiar when I watched the trailer again today. But no, I don't have any like deep knowledge of it or anything.
Oh, it's also the obsessive trailer. Or yeah, I think I called it the obsessed trailer. Obsessed. Oh my god, I need to go to bed. I think I called it the obsessed shadow. It's the obsessive shadow. I don't know. This is craziness. Um, I found I got all the footage I could find. I got all the trailers that I could find, and I threw it all together into this little compilation. More sirens on my end, and I mean, I don't really know what to say about this, man. I'm a little bit concerned that we could be getting into another horror adventure VR situation where it's like, okay, here's a bunch of like Unity assets that somebody threw together and kind of like made a little bit of a game out of it, which is like, I mean, not the worst thing in the world. And because sometimes that turns out okay. But the only actual gameplay I've really seen in this, other than like hiding, is seeing this shadow appear in the house or outside the window, and whoever's playing this game, I'm assuming it's the developer in the trailer, is running up to it and shaking the flashlight violently, which I'm assuming has to be how you get rid of it. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
it seems like, and again, I didn't read um, very much about this. Just from judging the gameplay footage that I saw, it seems like the concept here is you're trying to navigate or escape this place, but dark areas. This thing appears in dark areas, so the battle here is to light the areas and make your way through them. Um, I think I saw some footage of a puzzle. It seemed like they were working in a fuse box, like an old school fuse box. I would assume to restore light in the house or some area of the house so that they could get through it. It seems like it's probably going to be a relatively simple concept. Um, Stealth game, stealth puzzler. Um, so it could have some good tense moments, maybe a few good jump scares, but it does seem rather indie. The other thing that I noticed all over the gameplay footage was aliasing and shimmer all over everything. So, yeah.
So if we're looking for photorealistic environments with a nice clear, and it's there's no chance that this thing is going to have great anti-aliasing or running at 90 native. It's going to be a it's going to be a pretty standard port, I'm guessing. Especially since I think it sounds like another game that's been in development by mostly one person. Um, I do have the Steam page listing up though. Maybe let me switch over to that and see if we can extract any more information from that. Let's see what we got over here. All right, it says coming soon, Sleepy Dog Studios. It is interesting that it says February 2025 on the PlayStation Store page, West, but they said they followed that up with a tweet saying, "Don't believe the date. That's just a placeholder." They said, but it is coming sooner rather than later. So we shall see what that means. Probably not more than a few months out. Let's see. About this game, Obsessive Shadow is a VR survival indie horror game about a stalker you can't exactly identify. With nothing but your eyes and a flashlight at your disposal, it's up to you to survive whatever horrific person or thing is out there watching you. You're winding down at home for the night when suddenly you see a very strange emergency broadcast alert air on TV, followed up with a knock at your window. Watch your windows. Something is close by and watching you. Your flashlight is your best friend. It's so dark. Catch him before he catches you. And then it has created by Pablo Heckman and Lane Tanish. So it sounds like it's a two-person development team at Sleepy Dog Studios. And that is literally all the information that we're given. So I think at this point, Wes, we can hope for it to be fun. Because that's about it, right? I don't think it's probably not going to be like deep gameplay or graphically impressive, but hopefully it'll be fun, whatever the gameplay loop ends up being.
Yes. Go in the Discord and jack my volume up.
Oh, is it bad? All right, hold on a second.
Significantly. Yeah, people say I'm low.
Oh shit!
I've
Yep,
seen it
here
a
we
few
go.
times now. Check one, check two, syphilis. We didn't check for syphilis before the show, Bryan.
We didn't.
Check
We didn't.
one, check two, 3, 4, 5. All
That's
right.
got to be better.
No, I think the concept has potential. The apparition looks, freaky enough. And if it is one of these things where it's sneaking up behind you in the shadows and you have to constantly be looking over your shoulder, I mean, it doesn't have to have super photorealistic graphics or strong anti-aliasing or anything like that to scare you a little bit. And that's kind of the whole point of a game like this, is to keep you on the edge of your seat, make you feel uneasy, raise your pulse up a little bit. So it certainly could do that. Um, we've seen Stranger Things before.
But have we
And
played Stranger Things before?
I haven't. Yeah,
I
you
meant
may
Stranger
have.
Things VR. I don't know. That was a horrible joke. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, no, I was going along with it. I haven't played it. Maybe you have.
No, man, my bass isn't cranked. That's just the way my volume is. That's just the way my voice is. It's how it comes out of my throat, straight into your ears. Very bassy, very bassy. Um, cool, man. Well, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. We've gotten tons of surprise indie games. I remember seeing the trailers for it, and I don't think this is going to be a Ancient Dungeon situation. But I remember seeing the trailers for Ancient Dungeon and being like, "Oh man, we'll see, we'll see." I'm sick of roguelites. This art style. It's like we'll see. And then I absolutely ended up loving it. One of my favorite games on the headset. So never want to judge a game before we played it ourselves.
True that.
Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for Life, has a viewer takeover question for us, Wes. He says, What VR game has you coming back to the most?
Depends on the time frame. Like if we're talking all time versus the last few months. Like the last month, it has um Batman. I've been playing a lot of Batman. I just finished it last week or the week before. Um, and I'm already ready to start playing it again. It's so good. Um, now, if we're talking about longer periods of time, like what VR game all time brings me back on the regular, I would say, Rush of Blood certainly was one of those games. Arizona Sunshine, probably more than anything, Arizona Sunshine. Now that the remake's out, and we've got a sequel, like those are the games that I've already played 20 times over, and I'm still going back and playing them more.
Is it just me, or maybe we're just not far enough into the PSVR2 lifespan yet? But like, are there? I feel like we're missing a subsect of games, and this is just coming to my mind now. So like, I'm probably just have this blind spot up. But there were games like, I mean, Firewall Zero Hour, right? Ultra obviously didn't turn out well on PSVR1. We also had Dodgeball Guns, whatever the fuck the real name of that game is.
Smashbox Arena.
That's it. We had Spark, right? I mean, it just felt like there were all these kind of competitive games that we went back to a lot. Starblood Arena, we played that shit until like they shut the servers down. There were a lot of these games that we just went back to again and again and again. And maybe I'm having like fonder memories again because we're only 2 years into the PSVR2 lifespan and we haven't had a chance to get all those games. And I guess maybe I'm ignoring a lot of the games that I have been going back to. I talk about Phasmo incessantly. I play Phasmo incessantly. Like I don't have 100 hours in any other PSVR2 game. Phasmo is it. I had 60 hours in Gran Turismo 7 when I reviewed that. So,
Good call. Flamehat says Walkabout. Walkabout and Demio are definitely strong contenders in this category.
Yep, 100%. See, these are the things in my blind spot, right? Because I played a lot of Demio, and I used to play a lot more Walkabout. It used to be like whenever we had the chance, we would play Walkabout. And now I haven't played like the last 3 or maybe 4
You haven't
DLC
done
courses.
the 8-bit one yet?
I haven't done the 8-bit one. I haven't done Wallace and Gromit. I haven't done, I don't even know what the new one's been.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Mars?
Although I did go in a week or two ago and play the 8-bit one that just came out recently.
What
And
was it? How did that treat
as
you?
you can imagine, it was cool. Like they had some cool new mechanics into some really cool looking retro worlds. Um, and it shifts. So like the first half of the course, the main mechanic is like block breaker. So there are blocks on the course that you have to smack the ball into and clear them so that you can get around them and get to the hole.
I love
And
that.
then like halfway through, like it completely changes up and it brings in a whole new mechanic, but still kind of integrates the block breaker concept in on those at the same time. It was really
Nice.
good. It was fun.
I think Scott to PSVR Game Cap for Life said I have 45 hours in Resident Evil 4 VR and I'm only halfway through. How do you have 45 hours in RE4 VR? Listen, I don't. I know. I was gonna say, listen, I get it, but I don't get it. Like, I don't even understand how you could spend that much time playing RE4. Like, I could spend 45 hours in there, like and probably be on my 3rd run by now. But wow. All right. I guess
Probably
when
completionist, probably going back and like using the treasure maps to go back and get every little bit of treasure that's strewn across the maps. I spent quite a lot of time doing that myself, just because I'm that type of person. I don't like leaving things behind when I know that they're there. It makes me like want to not pick up the treasure map because I know when I get the treasure map
mhm.
that it's going to add twice as much gameplay because I'm not going to leave anything behind.
Scott says I like looking at stuff.
I do too.
It's cool. Oh man, dude, you're making me want to check out the 8-bit layer and Walkabout. That is giving me a reason to get back in there. Um, I think once you stay away from something for so long, it almost seems difficult to get back to. Like it's almost like the workload. The amount of stuff that you have to check out because you haven't been there in so long starts feeling like a
Right.
workload and it starts stacking up. I got to check out this course. I got to check out this course. I got to bring in some friends that I really want to play with. I don't want to play with random. Like, and it just becomes a thing. And I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow, and then you don't end up doing it. But hearing about 8-bit layer, man, I think you convinced me. I got to check this out.
Good. Tag me. I'll go in with you.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna check Discord for some viewer takeover questions. Rypops, wow. Rypop says at CES 2025, Sony showed off a new arcade Last of Us experience, location-based experience. Do you think this could lead them to make a Last of Us VR game for the PSVR2? Did you see this segment? I was confused by it because they talked about The Last of Us, in all sorts of different media, talking about season 2 coming up, and then they've mentioned a location-based arcade experience, and I was like, awesome. Is that VR? Like they didn't say the word VR, but usually location-based implies VR, right?
Yeah, you would think so, right?
So I mean, do you think that there's any possibility that they'd find some way to like port the location based arcade experience, or is this testing the waters for Last of Us VR or Last of Us in VR at all?
Um, I think that it's more likely to be the other way around. I think if there is a location-based Last of Us VR experience out there, it's likely stemmed from the development of a Last of Us VR game for PlayStation VR2.
Mm,
Um, I don't think that we're going to see the opposite happen, where they developed this location-based thing, and now all of a sudden they want to support PSVR2 with a multi-year, multi-million-dollar project. Um, I think it would likely all come as part of the same package, and they would probably outsource it to a studio that has more like VR experience than uh, Naughty Dog. But that's just my thought. I don't know. I didn't see this segment that you're talking about. I didn't watch the Sony keynote this year, so
you didn't miss
I don't
anything.
know. I didn't think so.
They showed more of that headset that they showed off last year with like the thing that the front that flips up, that the mixed reality headset. They talked about cars for way too long, and then mentioned TV shows and stuff. It was for gamers, it wasn't something that you'd want to tune into. But if you like Sony first party stuff, and you want to see like what the new cartoon or the new TV show is going to be, all right, that works. But I listen. The Last of Us VR is something that I've been like harping on about forever. I
Yes.
feel like the slightly more slow paced, kind of scavenging and everything works really well in VR. A lot of it has to do with shooting, and shooting always works in VR.
It,
Um,
it's a very visceral game, even on a flat screen. Like the combat, it feels like you're fighting and clawing and scratching to survive
right.
when you're in some of these situations, and you just know how that could translate to VR and really be an impactful experience. And the story in and of itself is very impactful. So to be able to experience it truly from a first person perspective in full fledged uh, 3D VR, I mean it's great. It's a great idea, and hopefully one day we get to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah. The like this all the stealth mechanics and everything seem like they'd work great in first person VR. So like even like, going up and like seeing the outline of somebody that's walking kind of like in the distance to have an idea of where they are and where you need to be. It all just screams VR to me. So uh but we'll see. We'll see. Rachel, the Janky Game Cat with the £5 says, "Are you looking forward to the Until Dawn movie? A VR tie-in from Sony would be nice."
I think an Until Dawn movie could be good. Obviously, this series is primarily a story based, experience. So obviously, they have writers there, and they have good experience in writing, you know, uh, tales, scary horror tales that have garnered millions of fans. So I certainly think if they bring in the right producer, that they could certainly pull off a good movie. I think that good video game movies are becoming more frequent in today's day and age as video games become the medium of choice for people to consume stories. It seems like some of the more visionary um, game directors out there have been able to translate their projects and their ideas over to the film medium a lot more effectively than in years past. So I'm not saying I think it's going to be good or that it's not going to be good, but I think that it could be, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit concerned, I guess, only because the Uncharted movie. So as you said, video game movies are, you know, good video game movies are becoming the norm, or at least becoming. Uh, it's more likely to be a good movie than a bad movie, I think. Um, and even Uncharted, that I think a lot of people criticized heavily. I watched it and I was like, all right, it's fine. Like it's not, it wasn't a bad movie. Maybe it wasn't a good Uncharted movie, right? But it wasn't a bad movie. So the question is like, who are they trying to appeal to? At least the question that I had when they announced this was who are they trying to appeal to? Are they trying to appeal to the widest audience possible? Are they trying to do like a Five Nights at Freddy's thing and make it PG-13 and not like make it super scary and make sure that like kids can go to it and
Yeah,
adults can go to it? Or are they trying to like fucking scare us and like make it, PG, no, make it R rated? It's like PG-17.
it
Are they trying
needs to
to,
be,
yeah,
right?
right? I think that they need to make this what made the game good, and that is actual legitimate scares. I didn't think the game was that nearly as scary as it could have been, whereas Until Dawn: Rush of Blood was terrifying to me, mostly because it was one of the first VR games I ever played. But I'm sure it still holds up. I'm sure it's still pretty scary. That's where I would be with it. If they make it really scary, they make it for adults, then I'm down.
Yeah, same. And I think that's one of the reasons why video games are such an effective medium, even still today, is it's kind of the last place where people are not afraid and they're not pulling their punches. Every now and then you'll find a studio that just goes for it, and that's becoming less and less prevalent in film and television. People are becoming more um, conscious about not stepping on any toes or offending anyone, or and it's really that mindset hinders artistic expression to the nth degree. Like you can't have true artistic expression without true freedom to create. Um, so I think that's why video games are so much better now than movies and TV are, and the more successful adaptations we've seen, like The Last of Us, have been so because the directors have while taking artistic, you know, liberties and making it not be one to one carbon copy of what the game was, still staying true to the original vision of the game and being just as visceral and impactful as the original source material was. So yeah, it is a big question mark, right? Like what direction will they go with it? How many people from the original creative team will be involved with it, or are they going to bring in Hollywood people to come in and try to reimagine it? Um, Only time will tell, I guess.
Yeah, like the old saying goes, you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody.
Exactly.
We got Rachel the Janky Game Cat in Discord too. Look at that. Rachel's everywhere. Where is Exo Cars? I need more VR racers. Please, Bryan, blink twice if Arken Age is worth the hype. Did you catch it? Did you catch it? Did you catch it? He fucking blinked twice, Wes. He fucking did it. It's worth the hype. Oh shit. Blake's gonna kill me. All right, broken Bargo. I'm sorry.
It's a good.
Yeah, we'll go into detail tomorrow. Wish we'd go into detail right now. Where is Exo Cars? Well, again, one of the great things that we keep hearing from the team at Zocus is that they seem like they're very happy with the port, and that all the stuff that they're trying to do to get through Sony certification process is just stuff like UI stuff and like making sure that everything's labeled properly and blah blah blah. So it's all a bunch of red tape. It's all a bunch of red tape that they're dealing with right now. So they were saying initially, they're like, don't worry, no matter what, it'll come out in November, even if it's a couple weeks later than they release. And they said, okay, well, December, we'll get it out in December. And then now it's listed as January. And they're being as transparent as they can, saying It's just taking longer than expected, but it's still just about here.
Yeah, you can't set dates with Sony. You just can't. They will find things for you to fix.
I still, after all this time, I still don't know if it's running at 90 native on PSVR 2. I had a lot of questions, and we still haven't
You know
gotten
what
answers for them
though?
yet. What's that?
You know what though? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, some reprojection is better than others. Um,
It's true.
again, I want to talk about Arken Age. They let you choose in Arken Age. Um, I wonder what choice you made. I know what choice I made, and I thought I might regret it, and I didn't.
Um, I had lots of choices to make, Wes, because I have it installed on my Pro and my OG,
Oh,
and then
that's
you
good.
have the option for reprojected or native on both consoles, and
Yeah, they ask you right away, like, which one do you want? It's like one of the big things, big questions at the front.
yeah, yep,
Um,
man. Let's just cancel the rest of today's show and go live tomorrow. Do you want to just do that?
I'll be on a plane tomorrow, Brian. I can't.
Oh, right. We're gonna miss you. Duggar says it's tomorrow sometime in the world. Just saying. Somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Exo Cars. Yeah, dude, I can't wait. I can't wait. Hopefully, I just hope that they nailed everything with Exo Cars because, again, it's a little on the shallow side here at launch, but as long as the haptics feel good and the steering wheel support feels good, and the multiplayer, even though it's limited, there's only 4-player multiplayer. As long as it all works, man, and it feels good and looks good, I'm gonna be pretty happy. So we'll and then of course the roadmap just looks incredible. They've got this amazing progression system going on and all sorts of other stuff. So hopefully adding more players to the multiplayer mode is also part of that plan. We'll see how it all goes. But I'm with Rachel. I just need more racers in VR. Galaxy Kart in Gran Turismo 7 cannot carry all the weight. That's ridiculous.
True.
Yep. All right. We got more, Wes.
Awesome. Let's go.
Archimedes NZ, I'm guessing New Zealand, says, hashtag VR Takeover. I missed out on the PSVR 1 generation, but watched some gameplay over the years. Are the I Expect You to Die games any good? I love the spy aesthetic. Are there any spy games you want on PSVR 2?
So I Expect You to Die games are good. They do get criticism sometimes for the sequels not uh, evolving enough from the original, but they do evolve, and I think that some of that criticism is unfair. I think that the games progressively get better as you go. They 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 don't make big changes, but the changes that they make in those games are impactful changes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, technically it's a spy game, but it's not really. It's a puzzle game. It's
Yep.
got a spy story and a spy theme to it, but it's not like a covert action game where you're being stealthy and actually spying. It's just your character and the story is a spy, and the scenarios that they put you in are like spy scenarios, but it's all environmental puzzle game, 100%. They're good. They're definitely good, and they're worth playing if you like puzzle games and like escape room style puzzle games. It's that type of puzzler. Um, spy games. We haven't really had a great spy game in VR. I don't feel like.
Does
We had
Hitman
some
count?
decent ones. What's that?
Does Hitman count?
Yeah, yeah. Hitman's good, and I think, um, yeah, I think that once we get the definitive version of that game in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be the one. Outside of Hitman, I mean, what there's been Aspire,
Oh
one and
God, yeah.
two, which were middling. Um, what else? I guess Republic was kind of like a spy game a little bit.
Yeah. I actually really liked Republic.
Yeah, it was good, especially
Yeah.
for its time. Um,
Looper, the Underground Game Cat in the chat says, I Expect You to Die 3 evolved a lot with the moving levels. Wes, I never played I Expect You to Die 3 because they had announced it for Quest and then they never announced it for PSVR 1 or 2. In fact, I Expect You to Die 1 and 2 are still stuck on PSVR 1 for me. We don't have any of them on PSVR 2. Um, it, do you think they're going to surprise us with like a trilogy one of these days?
Yes. Yeah, I think they will. I mean, unless I mean, it's always possible that they switch gears and become extremely ambitious and start putting out new titles on the regular. If they do that, it could get left in the past, but they seem like a very slow and deliberate studio, and it only makes sense for them to. I mean, I don't think it would be a particularly large lift for them to support PSVR2 with their existing catalog.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't think there's a ton of money to be made. It's not the biggest platform in the world, but I don't think there's a lot of work involved with it either. I think the juice would definitely be worth the squeeze for them, and for that reason, I do expect that you to die at some point.
Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. Now let's in the chat. Sorry, Sirens on my end says I wouldn't call any Schell game ambitious. I think during the early days of PSVR one, it was easy to look at I Expect You to Die and give it a lot of credit because it was just felt really, really polished and there was a lot going on and like they had kind of like figured out these telekinesis VR controls when here we are sitting with the move controllers. It was like they kind of figured some shit out before anyone else did, and it just felt really, really polished and clean, and something that like we weren't seeing a lot of. But yeah, I definitely don't think we would. I wouldn't call any of them ambitious. I checked out Silent Slayer. I got that wrong. What's it called? What the one we played at PAX
No,
East
that's
last
right.
year?
Silent
Yeah,
Slayer, Vault of the
yeah.
Vampire.
Right. That was like their take on like a Five Nights at Freddy's mini game or something. Like so, I don't know. I'm very curious to see where Shell Games goes next. I'm very curious to see if they get more ambitious with their titles or if they're finding a lot of success with these smaller titles, and so they sink less money into development costs, and then there's less risk if it doesn't sell, or greater reward if it does sell. I think that's what a lot of VR developers are doing at the moment. So, uh, but yeah, did you play I Expect You to Die 3? I never get around to actually asking you that.
A little bit. I didn't play a ton of it. I played like an hour or so of it just to give impressions on it, and it was very much in line with the other ones. You know, it was a little bit different what I played. And maybe Looper played a little deeper and experienced a little bit more of it, but it seemed a little bit different, a little bit more involved than the earlier iterations, and it was fun as expected.
We got electrical in the viewer takeover channel saying hashtag viewer takeover. What else other than the announced features like ambidexterity? I got it. You didn't think I was going to get it, but I got it. Motion controls, etc. Would Hitman on PSVR2 need to have to maintain the 9.7 score you gave to the original PSVR1 version? I know that you're not going to be reviewing the game for us, Wes, but what what are your expectations for World of Assassination when it gets to PSVR two? And do you think it's going to live up to, um, the kind of high critical, uh, the high acclaim that we gave it last gen?
I do. I do because that game has the type of it's in a league of its own with regard to replayability. Like that's it. Like I hate sandbox games. I don't like going into a game with no objective, and you never really have that problem here. There's always an objective. There's always a challenge, but this is a game that's just fun to play. I could just go fuck around in this game all day long and never get bored. And it's an entire trilogy of AAA games.
Yeah.
So I think as long as it's just good on a technical level, um, that it'll warrant every bit of the highest score you can give it. It's already one of the best games in VR with its shortcomings from last gen. So I feel like any improvement on that is an improvement. I feel like the high score was justified originally, and if we get better visuals now, and we get less button press mechanics, we get to fully use both hands. Like I feel like those are all improvements on an already great game. So that they don't have to do a lot, honestly. Just not don't break it. You know what I mean?
Just don't fuck it up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now this is another one. Like, I don't think we've gotten all the details. I would like to know like what frame rate this is running at. It's running at reprojected or whatever, and like because it does seem like they've given these visuals. Like I can tell where each scene is taking place. Like these are levels that I've played. We've gone through this trilogy. We've played these levels, and so but there is it's gotten a facelift. Right, there is some kind of facelift that it's gotten, and so it doesn't look identical. And I'm very very curious to know like like with this graphical overhaul that it's gotten, or is it getting, what are they doing with the frame rate and what are they doing with DFR and all this other stuff? It's like, it's just lots of questions. But as somebody who praised this game extensively and got used to the concept of being like, this is my right hand. I'm holding a DualShock 4 in the air, and this is my right hand. In my left hand, fucking useless, right? That's how you had to play Hitman on PSVR 1, and I hated that at first, right? But eventually you go, all right, well this is, you know what, I'm in VR, and this is getting almost everything done. So yeah, so I think I'm with you. I think that there's a lot of games that I look back on and go, maybe I reviewed that a little bit on the high side. I've always said like the kind of rule you can follow is if you see any great scores on Without Parole, just knock a half point off it, and you'll probably be right there where like I am today. Be like, okay, well, 9.7. Yeah, it's probably a 9.2 really, and then that gives you a little bit more leeway to work with. I think 9.7 is fucking spot on for what it was, and if it delivers again, with all of the stuff that they're promising, I mean, we could be seeing fucking straight up 10 here. Um,
Yeah.
but
It's that good. There's a legit story campaign. There's every level that I played. I haven't played them all, but every level that I played is pretty extensive in terms of what the goals are and what you have to do to make it through. And what I really love about it is there's no one way to achieve your goal. Like there's 5 ways you can get there. There's 10 ways you can get there. You can be a master of disguise, or you can absolutely just ram your way through with brute force. Like you can play it however you want, and every way seems to be just as fun as the other way. Um, there's 100 people, there's 500 people in the level. How many of them can I drown in the toilet before they kill me? Like there's just so much that you can do in this game, and it's versatile in a way that no other games in VR are. Um, I think it's a bit of a unicorn, and if they finally, uh, you know, are able to achieve that promise of making this like a VR game, um, I think it's going to be one of the best in the catalog, at the very tippy top of the list.
yeah, as you were describing some stuff, I was immediately brought back to thinking about all the different ways that I like accidentally killed people in a Hitman game, and I want to talk about them all right now, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? That's the kind of stuff you don't want to spoil for people. If like you haven't played it yet, then maybe we don't talk about it. That way, people can be surprised on their own. Mark Prop and Pringles Leaf was asking in the chat. He says, "How much is the PSVR2 version of Hitman: World of Assassination going to be?" Um, I don't know. Like, if you don't own the game, you can buy it right now. You can literally buy it right now. Buy the World of Assassination on PS4 or PS5. Make sure there's like 1,000 store listings, so it gets confusing. And then when it actually comes out, it'll be a $10 upgrade from that. So you can actually see how much it is now on the PlayStation Store, and then be like, okay, here's my $10 upgrade. But I'm assuming that there'll be an official listing for a PlayStation 5 PSVR 2 version that comes complete with everything. And then, so if you haven't bought it, maybe you wait and just get that package. And I don't know how it's going to work.
It goes on
Uh,
sale too, so
it
you
does.
got to watch for that. It goes on sale pretty often. So
Yeah. I saw Justin Bendorf in the chat. The good viewer takeover question says, any tips to help the kind of out of body little nausea feeling after playing VR for a little bit? Any settings, setup, etc. Only played Horizon Call of the Mountain so far, and then Metro soon. Justin, before we even give you any advice for motion sickness, because that's kind of what you're describing. Um, and actually, I mean, let's back up even further. That may be not what you're describing. I remember the first week that I played VR. I said this on Reddit like fucking 9 years ago, and I guarantee you, people didn't believe me. I played a lot of fucking VR for the first week that it was out. And then I went back to work waiting tables. And I swear to you, without thinking about it, I reached out to the glass rack to grab a glass at the restaurant and pulled the move trigger that
I still
wasn't
do
in
stuff
my
like that.
hand. I just did this, and then I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Like my brain glitched, and I was like, and so I kind of still felt like I was in VR even when I was out of VR, like these little things like that. So so you may be experiencing some of that, like just kind of like getting used to going back and forth between two different worlds. But also it could be a little bit of motion sickness. Which one do you
It's a
think it
little
is,
bit like
Wes?
motion sickness. There's vertigo that you can get if you play VR a lot and you're not used to it. Um, no matter what the symptoms that you're having are, it's all just your brain adjusting to this kind of new mode of reality, and it will get better. And if you're asking for tips on how to deal with it, I have a two-step program, and it works 99% of the time. Two rules. You follow these two rules, and you'll be better in no time.
I'm
One,
excited,
play
Wes.
every day.
I'm excited. Wait, what was it? Play every day?
Play every day. You have to
Okay.
play some VR every day. Your
Okay.
brain needs to acclimate, get used to things moving visually with your body not actually feeling the force of movement. It takes some time for your brain to adjust to that. It takes some time for your brain to get used to stereoscopic 3D without um, vergence. Like, in real life, your eyes are focused on a focal plane about 3 feet away from your eyes. That's where all of the games are kind of programmed to take place at. And the distance is kind of an illusion. Um, in the future, lenses will allow for you to actually focus at depth, and it'll be something that makes games feel a lot more real without people really being able to point their finger at that and pointing it out as something. Anyway, I digress. Two steps. Step one, play every day.
Yeah.
Step two, as soon as you start feeling weird, take a break. Every time. Don't power through. Never try to power through it, because it'll just get worse, and it'll get worse exponentially fast. And if you hit a certain level with it, um, you won't play every day because it'll put you off, and you won't be able to get motivated to get into it. Kind of like always liking it to getting food poisoning from your favorite food. Like, you get really sick after you eat something, it doesn't matter how much you like it, like, you're not gonna wanna eat that again for a very, very long time. VR is the same way. So whenever you start feeling weird, just take a break, put it down for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, a half an hour, and then come back to it. But if you do that and you play at least 10 or 15 minutes every day, uh, you'll find that today's 15 minutes will become 20 minutes tomorrow, will become 30 minutes the next day. It'll be an hour the day after that. And then eventually, it won't take long. You'll be completely accommodated to it, and you'll be able to play for hours with no problem.
There was chat. There was talk in the chat. Like Nick Mulo and Cerebral Frost saying, I don't think he's describing motion sickness. A lot of people on Reddit asked this question. It's some kind of weird dissociation, and you'll just get over it over time. But now that we're down the motion sickness path, we're going to continue down it, and because I agree, it's yeah. If that's if that's what we're talking about, the out of body type stuff, yeah, you'll get over it over time, and it'll just be part of your life. Um, but I'm going to say I was talking to someone recently and about how taking like literally the light visor off of your VR headset can help with motion sickness, because then you actually still are, your brain is still perceiving that you're in this world, and that then you're looking through
Sure.
these lenses, and so you're killing the immersion a little bit, while doing that, but making it possible to play, which is good. I think the same person, I think this might all be Dan. I think this one might all be coming from Dan, was saying that the sitting in a swivel chair and not using smooth turning or click turning, and just spinning the chair to move, uh, keeps you grounded in one spot, and also gives you some kind of a natural turning motion in VR. Um, And some people in the chat are saying ginger, chewing ginger, ginger gum, ginger whatever, helps settle the stomach. And then, of course, my favorite thing is just fucking blast a fan on you the whole time that you're playing. Keep a fan by your feet or kind of like in front of you at some point. Aim it up at your face, and some of that air will get up through the light shield. And not only will it make the immersion better, right? If you're playing Farpoint or something and you're on this alien planet and you feel like a breeze on your face, that'll be a fucking alien planet breeze. I'm telling you. But also it'll help stave off the motion sickness. It was you, Dan.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
and you know, eating ginger is one thing, but really eating or drinking anything helps. And the reason why is because you are taking those breaks every 10-15 minutes. You're pulling your visor out from your face, you're looking down through the thing and doing something in the real world for a minute and focusing outside of the lenses, and then just pushing it back in and you know, playing onward.
I'm gonna check real quick here. Oh, good. People are enjoying the fan. That's good. I like that. Just double checking here, making sure that we've gotten everybody's question. Stingray X asked if is a hot dog a sandwich.
Technically, yes.
Okay, maybe technically, but my answer is no.
No,
It's
no,
not.
I mean,
It's not between two
not really
slices of
food.
bread, right? I think most sandwiches are between two slices of bread. A hot dog bun is a very specific
Not necessarily.
bread vehicle.
Is a Philly sub a sandwich? I think most people would say yes, but most of the time they don't cut the bread like completely in two. They just slice it and open it up, right?
Thwarted again.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah,
Not
dude.
because of hot dogs, because of Philly cheesesteaks. I'm
Yes.
not a big fan of hot dogs.
Oh man, I actually do love hot dogs.
I'm a
Hot
hot
dogs
dog
are.
snob. Like
Oh no.
I've got to have like a all beef, like good, like quality hot dog on nice fresh baked bun. Like if I want to enjoy it and actually say, "Hey, this is good," it needs
Yeah.
to be good. You know, picking up a pack of cheap ass hot dogs and store brand buns just doesn't do it for me.
Um, I whatever the opposite of what you just said is, that's what I am. I am. I'm the cheaper the better. I like you give me some fucking like generic brand ramen noodles. You give me generic brand hot dogs, dude. You want to be crazy and put some cheese inside of those hot dogs before I even buy them? You ever see the fucking hot dogs that are like injected with cheese in them, bro?
I I, I love the cheddar wurst. Right, it's not like a hot dog. It's like more of a sausage, but the jalapeno cheddar ones, wow, those are good.
Damn, damn. This is what's like. So it's like eating at the Dillon household, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was forever. I got kids, so lots of hot dogs. Although
Makes sense.
most of the time I just eat the chili and leave the wiener off of there.
Damn. All right, man. We're gonna do a little 4 minute challenge and get out of here because my head is swimming right now, and hopefully this was hopefully this was still a good episode, but I am not with it today. Um, let I've picked a game out, Wes, and I'm gonna put 4 minutes up on the clock. Remember, everybody out there, help Wes out. He's got 4 minutes and an infinite number of yes or no questions to figure out what PSVR1 or PSVR2 game I'm thinking of. I cannot find the timer. There it is. You ready for this? Are you ready for this?
I think so, yeah.
All right, on your mark, get des, go.
It's a PSVR2 game,
Yeah,
PSVR1 game.
yeah.
Ooh, okay. Is it on other VR platforms?
Yeah. A lot of yeses already. I don't like
Steam,
this. Yeah,
Quest?
yeah.
Okay, across all platforms. Did we talk about it on today's show?
No,
No. Okay. Um, is it based on a known IP?
no,
You shooting guns in this game primarily?
no,
No. Okay. Full locomotion?
yes.
First person.
First person, yes.
Puzzle game.
No.
Not a shooter, not a puzzle game. Are you driving or controlling vehicles in some way?
No.
No. Not a racing game, not a shooter, not a puzzle game. Is it good?
Yes.
It is a good game. Hmm. Multiplayer?
No.
Leaderboards?
I don't believe so.
Horror?
Horror, no.
Sci-fi?
Mm, no.
Fantasy?
Yeah.
It's a fantasy
Right.
game
Yeah.
on all platforms. So would you call it like a dungeon crawler?
No, I mean that wouldn't be a term I'd use to describe it. No. But you could probably
Hmm.
stretch. You probably stretch and say yes, but that's not something what I would describe it as.
Okay. Melee combat?
Yes.
Spellcasting?
Uh yeah, I think there's crap. I don't That's so weird that I don't remember.
Okay. So there's definitely melee and there might be spellcasting.
Yeah, I
Um,
think there is.
okay. No, it's first person. It's not Moss. Well, I don't know. I guess it could be. Are there any third person elements to it?
No.
No. Does it have a campaign?
Yeah.
Is it a story driven campaign?
Yeah, but eh, not important. No, it's not heavily emphasized.
Okay. Ancient Dungeon we talked about today. It can't be that.
Good call.
Um, um, no, it's not Barbaria. Um, so it's definitely good. Is it a roguelike? Oh, probably not.
Yes.
It is a roguelike. Um, is this would you call it a realistic art style?
No. You have 15 seconds.
Does it use a lot of like neon colors and things like that?
Yes, it does.
All right. So this is what's the name of that fucking game? Until You Fall. Is this Until You Fall?
At the buzzer, yes, it is from Schell Games. Until You Fall. We talked a lot about Schell Games today, but we did not even mention Until You Fall.
Almost mentioned it. I almost mentioned it earlier, but I didn't.
Almost. What a great game though. And somebody asked in the chat if it was a top 50 game. And the sad thing is I don't even remember what the top 50 list consists of. If it's not on there, shame on me. There's so many great games that didn't make the list. This is a great game.
Yeah, that's very good. I mean, it could be on there, but we have so many great games now that it could definitely not be on there. We have more than 50 really good games now. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and that list is from like 2 months ago at this point. So or a month and a half ago. In the last month, we got easily 4 more games that would make the list, and over the next couple months, we've got easily 4 more games that are going to make that list. So it's going to be
What about over the next 2 weeks, Brian? Do we
what
have
about
any?
what about over? Is Arken Age going to make the list, Wes? Blink twice if Arken Age is going to make the next list. Guys, he blinked twice. Crazy. Amazing. All right, you guys, I gotta get out of here. My head is swimming. I feel like I just got out of VR for the very first time. I'm picking up shit from all the way across the room with my finger. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. You guys are the best. Absolutely love being back from a little vacay. And of course, tomorrow is the big day where we're gonna start talking about first impressions for Arken Age, and hopefully I'll have my video out ready to go for that. Wes and I are both very excited to talk about it. So, However, you might have to for a GamesCast. You might have to wait for Miles's impressions on Friday. I think that's how that's gonna go down. Don't forget to subscribe to Wes over at Virtual Stranger. Subscribe to Miles at his channel and AJ at his channel. All the links are in the description below. And while you're clicking links and subscribing, make sure you come over to Discord. Click the link in the description below. Come hang out there. That's where these conversations happen 24/7. That's where I hang out all day, every day. Thank you, everybody who supports the channel in every way that you do, whether it be financially or just being here as part of the community. And of course, thank you to everybody who sits back and watches the show and doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there, and we love you just as much. Happy Wednesday, Wes.
Happy Wednesday, Bryan. Happy Wednesday, cats. See you all very, very soon.
Let's go. Alex Blanco in the chat says, my girlfriend is going to ask me why I'm hard from watching two middle-aged men. I'm not sure that they blinked twice. We'll explain it to her. That is amazing. That's my favorite comment of the day. Wes, it is time to check out what was happening on this day in Without Parole history. Are you ready to check this thing out, man?
Let's do it.
All right, I think we're going to go back 2 full years to 2023. And I just going to scroll down a little bit to get it here. And there it is. Oh, my God. Live from CES 2023. Wes played PSVR2. Hands-on impressions. How come you're always doing the cool stuff?
Because you're a hermit and you don't like to leave.
Oh, right. It's my fault. I forgot.
Yeah, it's all your fault that I got to do all the cool things.
Do you remember? Like I mean, it was only 2 years ago, so it's not like it was like a decade ago or like a lifetime ago. But I mean, like, do you remember getting there? Because was this your first trade show?
This was my very first trade show ever, and this was a pivotal moment for me in my life and my career. Like, this was the first time I ever went to a trade show. I met a lot of people that I'd known for a long time online, in real life. I was still working on the factory floor at this time. Like, I went to this thing at great personal expense. Like, I spent thousands of dollars for this trip to go to Vegas and play PSVR2. And it was the best investment I ever made because I was told Alex VR. I don't know, some of you out there may know Alex VR from Between Realities. He told
Alex
me
is
on
great.
this
I love
trip,
Alex.
he said, congratulations, this is your life now. This and he wasn't wrong. Within 3 or 4 months from that, I got hired into the industry, and I've been to many trade shows since then and done a lot of cool things. And it all kind of started with this specific trip and my extreme desire to be among the first people in the world to play PSVR2. So I have vivid memories of this trip.
I remember being a little disappointed by your reaction. Like you were like, oh yeah, it looks great, but it still feels like there was this caveat that you expressed every time when you would talk about it.
Well,
and I don't know if that was from the mirror or what, but it was very much still like, but it still feels like you're playing PSVR.
It was controller tracking was the big thing. Like, there was a lot of people coming out. There were reports that the controller tracking was just shit, and that was kind of still in my early days with the channel here too. And it was one of the first of many times by now that we have had to come out and contradict what so much of what VR YouTube was saying, because they were all coming out and saying that, Horizon's amazing, but the controller tracking is terrible, like game breakingly bad.
Right.
And but by the end of the day, we had a good technical explanation for why that happened there, and we weren't worried about it. And my experience wasn't that bad anyway. Like, I had a few issues with it, but it wasn't like terrible. Like, some of the people's experience was really terrible with it.
Yeah.
So we were very much put into that familiar position of telling people not to panic, that it's going to be okay. Um, and
Phasmo's a great game. Don't worry. Sorry. Sorry.
No, it's all good. But no, it was a great experience. I almost didn't get to demo it because I kind of slept in on
Right.
the morning when I was supposed to register for it, and there was only like one or two slots left when I got in and registered that morning. And if I had slept probably another 10 or 15 minutes, I would have not had the
Ah,
opportunity
that
to
would have been
play it.
horrible. You go there for like
Yeah,
that specific purpose, and then slept in.
yeah, that would have been so bad.
Damn.
But it worked out. It worked out in many, many ways. And yeah, heading back there
Yep.
tomorrow.
Heading back there tomorrow, man. You made it. This is your life now. Alex was right. It's crazy.
Was absolutely right. I'm working with that guy now.
Hell yeah. World of Long Plays in the chat says, hope you guys get to come to Gamescom this year. I don't know if you're going to Gamescom this year, Wes, but I am definitely not going to Gamescom this year. I've got a lot of things, places I need to go, people I need to see, games I need to play, probably a lot of traveling, which I'm not used to at all. But I promised myself that I would start traveling this year for Without Parole. But I want to just remind everybody that PAX East is in just a few months. It's in May this month, and that is where the GameCat meetup is going to happen. Do not forget to buy your badges. Do not forget to start booking your hotel rooms and your flights because it's only 5 months away and it's only going to get more expensive. So let's do it though. It's going to be a whole lot of fucking fun. I can't wait to see everybody there.
True that. True that. It was a lot of fun last year. It's going to be a lot of fun again this year. It's going to be warmer this year
Yeah,
because they're doing it later.
hell
So
yeah.
that in and of itself should lead to a vast improvement to the experience.
Wes, thank you for another amazing Wednesday, and thank you everybody out there. I hope you all have a great night, and we will see you